Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is November 24th, 2025, and Miguel Galan has penned a letter to John Laporta asking him to join the complaint against Javier Tebas. Also, John Laporta dropping a bombshell and explaining why he fired Xavi Hernandez. And finally, it's been revealed who Deco's favorite center back is in hopes of reinforcing that position in the summer transfer market. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and as you can see, I'm still away from home. I'm still away from my YouTube studio. I'm currently traveling. This is why I'm bringing you this short live stream to bring you all Barcelona news. This is not a podcast, so I won't be reading the comments, but nonetheless, I will be updating you on all the news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Of course, until I go back home, then it's back to your regularly scheduled videos and podcasts. Having said all that, let's dive right into the news because we have some pretty spicy news today, starting with Miguel Galan, who has asked John Laporta to join the complaint against Javier Tebas. Now, if you don't know what we're talking about, Miguel Galan, he is the president of Senafi, an attorney in Spain. He's someone who has brought a lot of lawsuits against different organizations. He's kind of like the guardian of football in Spain, where he sees something that's not being done right. When he sees something that's being done illegal, he always tries to fix it. And while he's doing that on our behalf against the president of La Liga, Javier Tebas, where Miguel Galan brought a complaint forward against Tebas for violating the confidentiality rules when Tebas revealed to the whole world the confidential financial information of Barcelona in regards to that one-to-one rule deal with the VIP seats, right? Tebas announced to the world that Barcelona were not going to be meeting the one-to-one rule because the 100 million euros that Barcelona made from the VIP seats were not going to count. That was something confidential that Tebas had no right of revealing. He also posted it on La Liga's website, also had no right of doing that. And then, of course, he even met with the president of Athletic Club de Bilbao, where he revealed confidential financial information from Barcelona to the president of Athletic Club de Bilbao, who then took that information and convinced Nico Williams not to sign for Barcelona, telling them, hey, Barcelona are broke. They're not under the one-to-one rule. They're not going to be able to register you. Look, here is a financial information, confidential financial information that Tebas gave me. And that's why Nico Williams ended up staying. Now, Miguel Galan brought a complaint in front of the Higher Sports Council. The Higher Sports Council decided that, yes, there was some violations there, so they kicked it up to the administrative court, the Administrative Court of Sports, who have now officially opened an investigation into Tebas. And if Tebas is found guilty of violating the confidentiality of Barcelona, then he can be suspended or even completely removed from his post. Now, Miguel Galan has now penned a letter to John Laporta asking him to join the complaint, to make Barcelona as part of this complaint against Tebas, which we know so far Laporta has refused to do. In fact, yesterday's video, I told you about how Laporta even came forward in defense of Javier Tebas, which I absolutely do not understand. In fact, I saw a lot of you commenting saying, oh, yeah, no, what Laporta's doing is the right thing because he knows who Tebas is and we don't know who's going to be the next president, which is absolute nonsense. It's nonsense, 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 nonsense. This does not make any sense. We have Tebas, who's the president of La Liga, who is continuously against Barcelona, who's continuously screwing us over. And you guys are saying that, yes, bravo, Laporta, he should not go against Tebas. What? That makes absolutely no sense. This whole argument that, oh, well, we don't know who's going to be the next president, so we should stay with one who's constantly harming us is nonsense. Again, this is like the woman who's being beat by her husband and she doesn't want to leave him because she doesn't know if the next husband is going to be worse or better. Nonsense. Tebas is bad for Barcelona. In fact, Laporta himself said that Tebas was the worst thing to happen to La Liga. And yet he continues to defend them. Makes absolutely no sense to me. And now Miguel Galan asking Laporta to join this complaint against Tebas to hopefully remove him. Because yes, not only is Tebas bad for Barcelona, not only is Tebas a 100% Madridistas by his own confession, but he is horrible for La Liga. La Liga has been declining year after year because of Javier Tebas, and you guys are wanting to stay. Makes no freaking sense. Anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news because speaking of John Laporta, the Barcelona president has revealed why he fired Xavi Hernandez. And this is what Laporta had to say about that whole ordeal. Xavi had announced his departure himself, saying he would leave at the end of the season. Then he asked to meet me at my home to explain that in reality, he wanted to continue and felt the need to. I asked him only one question: Xavi, do you believe in the team? He replied, I believe 100%, and I'll make these players champions. A week later, I heard him say in a press conference that he and the team would need 2 years to be competitive. I thought, what is this? He later spoke with Deco about the possibility of changing several first team players. As you know, I have a lot of respect for Xavi, and his words affected me deeply. We've had to make tough decisions before with Messi, Alba, Busquets, Piqué, even with Xavi and Koeman. But at Barca, the institution always comes first. It is above the players, the presidents, and the coaches. So John Laporta saying that, hey, Xavi quit. And then he came to me asking me to stay. And I asked him, do you believe in this team? He said yes. And then he goes, does a press conference where he says, I need 2 more years. I don't like that, so I fire him. Okay, let's break that down because, first of all, that's not the real timeline. Here, John Laporta is omitting some things. Because, yes, Xavi Hernandez announced that he was retiring, or not, sorry, not retiring, resigning back in January at the end of the season. Which, when that happened, I said this is an absolute mistake for Jean Laporta to allow Xavi Hernandez to continue. I said, if Xavi wants to quit, he needs to quit immediately. If not, he can tell Laporta, I'm quitting at the end of the season, but you don't announce that. I said that, and I still believe that is true. Laporta should have never allowed Xavi Hernandez to continue past that resignation announcement in January. He stayed for another 4 months. But that's not all that happened. It didn't go from Xavi announces his resignation to, oh, Xavi comes to me as in John Laporta, and asks me to stay. No, no, no. Because between Xavi announcing his retirement, or sorry, not retirement, resignation, to Xavi meeting with Laporta, there were several months where Laporta and Deco continuously tried to convince Xavi to stay. They continuously went in front of the press and said, yes, Xavi's leaving. It sucks. We want him to stay. I hope he can stay. And that is why Xavi ends up going to Laporta asking to stay. Because at this point, Laporta and Deco had been hammering him time and time again. We want you to stay, we want you to stay, we want you to stay. So Xavi's like, okay, fine, I want to stay. Then, of course, he does the press conference where he says that, he needs some changes, that he needs more with the team in order to become competitive. And Laporta doesn't like that, and he fires him. That, to me, I'm sorry, it's not an excuse. Because you're telling me the only reason you fired Xavi Hernandez was because what he said in a press conference? So because Xavi told you in person that, yes, he believed in the team, you took his word for it? How about if you would have looked several months into his coaching and realized that he didn't have what it takes to coach the team? That should have been the reason for you to let him go, not what he said in a press conference. If you didn't like what Xavi had to say in a press conference, you call him up and say, hey, man, what's up with those statements? You told me in person that, yes, you believe in the team. Now in a press conference, you're saying that you don't. Which one is it? Let's talk about this. You don't go fire him just because you didn't like what he said in a press conference. If you want to fire him, you fire him based on his performance, not based on his words in a press conference. So here, John Laporta trying to wash his hands of the whole thing, not wanting to admit that, hey, you did not treat Xavi the right way. Trust me, I wanted Xavi gone. I didn't think he was the right coach for Barca. But that's not what you do. If he announces retirement, you let him go. You don't hammer him and stay, 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 stay. Then he finally agrees to stay, and then you fire him and kick him out of the club like a dog. You fucked up, Jean Laporta. You should own up to that and not make up some bullshit excuses and try to attack Xavi now that Xavi is gone. And well, now it's easy to attack him, right? Like many people who used to come after me because I used to criticize Xavi, who all of a sudden are now criticizing Xavi as well. No, that's called being opportunistic. When Xavi was not performing, that's when we should have criticized him. Not now that he's gone, all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh yeah, Xavi sucked. That's not how it works. Anyways, let's continue with the news because, ladies and gentlemen, it's been revealed who Deco's favorite center back is. And it's no other than Murillo. Now, as you know, Barcelona will be looking to reinforce the center back position in the summer. Inigo Martinez left to Saudi. Christensen will be leaving as a free agent. So we need a center back. There's a list of center backs we've talked about, like Schlotterbeck, Gonzalo Inacio, etc., etc. And now it's been revealed that Deco's number one option is Murillo, someone we've talked about in previous videos. 23-year-old center back, currently plays his trade in Nottingham Forest, probably one of the best center backs currently in the Premier League, has a contract with Nottingham Forest until 2028. And Deco believes that this player, Murillo, would be a great fit for Barcelona. There will be a great future bet. At 23 years old, he still has many, many years ahead of him of great football. The problem is, of course, very, very expensive. Nottingham Forest are going to want a lot of money. So Deco's favorite option, but is it a realistic one? I would put a big, big question mark. But nonetheless, of course, I'm sure Deco will reach out, try to figure out to see how much would they want. Is there a payment plan, et cetera, et cetera? And if it's feasible, then it's something we can go after. If not, we're gonna have to go with other options. For example, Marquis, who would be a free agent, as opposed to Murillo. But nonetheless, Murillo's Deco's number one option. And my question to you is, do you think Murillo will be a good fit for Barcelona? Yes, no, maybe? Let me know down below in a comment section. Now, the last bit of news we're going to talk about is, of course, Gerard Martin, because he played as a center back in our last match against Athletic Club Bilbao at the Camp Nou. And ladies and gentlemen, the numbers speak for themselves. The numbers reveal how great Gerard Martin was in that position, because Gerard Martin, ladies and gentlemen, ended up the match with 4 clearances, 5 balls recovered, 1 blocked shot. He won all 5 duels. He had 5 duels, 4 of them on the ground, 1 in the air. He won all 5 of them. He had 88 successful passes out of 97 for a total pass accuracy of 91%, where if you only count the passes within Barcelona's half, that accuracy goes up to 97%, and that's very important, right? You can mess up passes in the other team's half. You definitely don't want to mess up passes in your own half, because that, of course, can lead to a counter attack. But very impressive numbers by Gerard Martí. And in fact, Flick had some impressive words about Gerard Maldini, because Flick said, we will see him again as a center back. Yes, he gives us the ability to build, and he played excellently. When he's on the pitch, we know exactly what he will deliver. We trust him 100%. He has worked a lot over the last year. Really good words from Flick about Gerard Martin. Really good numbers from Gerard Martin in that center back position. And what I have to say, Gerard Martin, man, who would have thought? Someone who came from Cornellà, that's not even a professional, I don't think it even counts as professional football, to Barca Athletic, very low profile. No one knew who he is. No one knew what he was about. Next thing you know, he's starting for Flick. He's not the most talented. Maybe he's not even Barca level, but you have to admit, when Flick counts on him, he delivers. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going live in a few more minutes to bring you more Barcelona news, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Biscarsa.